There were like police officers with tasers and they were like surrounding her. They were telling her to surrender and she had this big thingies like scissors.
One of the men that got injured, he was literally standing against the wall. He had blood like completely dripping down the back of him, like through the bandage, and it looked like really horrible. Like it was so scary.
The woman dropped her right arm, I think, for a second, and instead of tasing her, they used that opportunity to detain her, essentially, and get her to the ground.
A 47-year-old woman was arrested earlier today after 4 men between the ages of 34 and 52 were stabbed in Covent Garden in central London. She remains in custody, and police said it is believed to be a mental health-related incident. Eyewitness accounts claimed the alleged attacks started on Endell Street, where she was confronted by what has been described as a standoff between police officers.
So we heard some shouting, so I popped my head out of the door, saw 2 police officers stood with tasers pointed at a woman who was quite clearly in psychological distress. She was holding a small blade in her hand, as well as a vape, I think, as well, and was refusing to drop it, obviously, the blade. Things were starting to get a little bit more escalated because the policemen were really trying to get her to drop the weapon, and 2 of her acquaintances or friends approached the scene, asking her to drop the weapon as well. The policemen were said to back off and let them deal with the situation, which I think was probably the right thing to do at that time.
The police were like pushing her to the ground and putting handcuffs on her. And then they started to put her up against the truck and they were checking her pockets, taking everything out. I saw like a lighter, I saw, I think, drugs, a bunch of other stuff. I didn't see it personally, but I know that she had a knife that was a couple inches long because they confiscated that as well. And then when I was walking back down this street to go back to work, I saw her being like dragged away by the police, and she was sort of being boisterous and like not really cooperating. And I also saw one of the men that got injured. He was literally standing against the wall right there, and he hadn't got a top on, but he had bandages all around his like chest, and when he was facing the wall he had blood like completely dripping down the back of him, like through the bandage, and it looked like really horrible. Like it was so scary.
A customer had said that there was someone with a knife or something, so I walked outside and down to the corner between Shorts Garden and Neal Street. And there was sort of a crowd of people, and the woman there, and I think a police officer, almost certainly, maybe a paramedic, and I wanted to know if I needed to close the shop, so I asked someone what's going on here. He said she's got some scissors. I thought she looked quite small and frail, and I thought maybe I recognized her. She looked kind of quite frail and old. I didn't think she was particularly threatening. I didn't even lock the shop.
And is it quite shocking to see this sort of thing happening in the centre of Covent Garden like this?
We get people acting crazy, had a bit too much to drink, that kind of thing, on the streets all the time. I mostly just felt concerned for her.
We've been here for 2 years now, and it's the first time any of us have seen anything like that. I think it's the first time that a lot of people have seen something like that around here. It's definitely considered to be like a nicer area. It's not expected.
The 2 men you said had been stabbed. You spoke to them. What did they say?
Yes, they were both surprisingly calm, I must admit. I think the blade that the woman had was quite small, which was definitely, like in this case, important, because I think if the wounds were any bigger, it might have been a lot more of a difficult situation and probably a lot more painful for both of them. They were both very calm and relaxed. They were seen quickly by a policeman who was on the scene, and yeah, they had to sort of stay in the area for a small amount of time just to make sure that they were like properly investigated and everything was done right. But yeah, and then after that, the street was shut down for about an hour as they collected evidence and detained the woman in the van just like down the road for a little while. Again, a lot of increased presence just by tourists and the police as well, so it was quite a shocking little affair, to be honest, yeah.
The men were taken away by ambulance, were they?
Yes, I think so. I think one of them was seen on site by a policeman who had an emergency kit with him, and I think they were both taken to the hospital, both with very minor injuries, but still scary injuries nonetheless. yes, a man had I saw his back had a big laceration in it and a lot of blood falling down through his shirt. We actually offered him one of our shirts that we can't sell just to like, just because there was holes and blood, so we were like, let's give him one of them just to make sure he's like at least covered. And yeah, that's about as much as I got to see and do myself. But after that, it was quite insane.
And you've worked here for some time, have you? I mean, have you ever seen anything like this in Covent Garden before?
Yeah, I worked here for about a year, and no, I can't say I've seen anything like this. There are like generally a lot of homeless people around, which is absolutely fine. We don't usually have any problems with them whatsoever. I think this was a case of a woman's psychiatric health taking a really big dip, and unfortunately, the public was involved as well. I was mainly observing and witnessing just to keep my eyes on the situation and ensure that nothing was like escalating insanely. And as a woman going through psychological distress with the Met Police, I also wanted to make sure that there just wasn't any mishaps or miscommunications, and that I got to see and document things as well.
And does it make you worried about the area at all? Are you going to have more concerns walking through Covent Garden in the future?
I don't think so. To be honest, most people here are really kind and really sweet, and the majority of the homeless population around here are really great, lovely people. This is just a really unfortunate incident of someone's mental health and their circumstances sort of colliding and creating a really dangerous situation for not just the public but for them as well. Obviously that woman was not very well, and yeah, I wish her the best as well.
Did he appear to be getting treated? Were there ambulance staff there?
Yeah, so there was one policeman that I saw like standing with him and inspecting him, but he didn't seem too he seemed in shock because he was like oddly calm.
It's obviously a very popular tourist area, Covent Garden. It must be quite shocking to see this happening here in this part of London.
Yeah, it's horrible because I feel like you hear a lot about this stuff in London, but never really in this area. I feel like people, including myself, tend to feel quite safe here. So it's just a shame for something like this to happen, and I feel like everybody's going to be more alert now as well.
And police have said that they've termed this as a sort of mental health incident. Does that appear to be the case from what you saw?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if I'm right, but I think she was from like a local homeless shelter, which is apparently around here, where they treat people for like drug addictions and stuff. So yeah, it's just really sad.
Officers seized a pair of scissors at the scene. This is a very popular tourist area in central London, and eyewitness accounts and videos from the scene show a number of tourists walking around at the time of the alleged incident. Shop owners have also spoken to press about the impact it has had on the local area. Some had to shut down and were advised to lock their doors until the police response ended. The Metropolitan Police said it is still in the early stages of the investigation and the woman remains in custody. But the force wanted to reassure her that there is not believed to be any risk in the community, and the incident is believed to be mental health related.